So first of all, my Dandvat Pranam to all of you. As we say, Om Agyana Tindarandasya Gyaranjana Chautaya Chakshurum Meditam Yina Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. I was born in dark of ignorance. By the light of Shri Guru, I achieved some spiritual transcendental knowledge. So when we talking about what is the Guru, what is the spiritual transcendental knowledge, there are numerous gurus and numerous ways of knowledge's descent in different time through different channels: mystic yoga, meditation, process of self-realizations, religious activity, sacrifices. It's all mentioned in the scriptures. But in Kali Yuga, the time that we live, is the Yuga Dharma, is Nam Sankirtan, the changing of holy names of Krishna. And Krishna himself came in form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to bless the world with the highest spiritual medicine. And we're just about to celebrate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Appearance Day, which is described in the scriptures just like moon and sun rising on horizon. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu appear in this world to bless all the living beings with Harinam Sankirtan. Now let's just go for 1 minute. Moon and sun, what does it really mean? So in yoga, we know there's Ida and Pingala. Half of your body female, which is moon. Half of your body is related with the sun, a male energy. So everything is a balance, and the Kundalini energy flowing to the chakra. So that's kind of yogic appearance, what moon and sun is. But we also know whatever is in our body is related to universe. So moon and sun, there are two principal planets that providing us life. So you say, okay, I understand about sun, but what about moon? So moon is a planet that connect with our minds, emotions, feelings, etc. So that's why we have a word lunatic, means like when moon is are too strong, people go crazy. There's also high enjoying tendency in human body at Purnima. That's why in Thailand, they have full moon party. Wherever the moon's strong, people go over emotion, very sensitive. So, you know, there are a bunch of sensitive people to moon. I'm sure you all felt some incredible wave of desire to enjoy. So that's why that moon and sun compares to Chaitanya and Nityananda. One is the enjoyer, and one is enjoyer, and one is one who provides service. But in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna and Balarama, like Chaitanya and Nityananda, come with very, very special function. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saving everybody, but in Kali Yuga, people are not qualified even to be saved. So therefore, he's coming together with Balaram, Nityananda Prabhu, and they're both sharing this salvation process. Mahaprabhu establishing pure religion, and Nityananda Prabhu establishing the pathway of pure religion. So Mahaprabhu is uncompromised followers of love of God, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu compromised followers, which means those who not qualified for this will get access. So Mahaprabhu, highest level, Nityananda Prabhu, path to the highest level. Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, embodiments of mercy, mercy that is higher than justice. But without justice, nothing can be done because there's no way to establish mercy. So Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu working under two principles: the divine justice and divine mercy. Divine justice means those who highly qualified, they're joining Mahaprabhu Sankirtan, and they get incredible spiritual benefit. But what about those who's not qualified, like us? There is the job of Nityananda Prabhu. He will pull us out of our illusory environment, as Srila Govinda Maharaj would say. So therefore, we celebrate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Appearance Day. And knowing that as Chaitanya and Nityananda came for Aishwarya Lila, means they are distributing holy names. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone, coming with the purpose of Madhurya Lila, means Krishna relishing heart of Radharani. So there's very intimate, secret very unique way Mahaprabhu is experiencing himself, Radha Bhava Duty Subulitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. And at the same time, he's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and sharing this with the whole world. And Nityananda Prabhu and his divine associates taking this holy name to everyone, every village and town. However, it is says in Kali Yuga, someone to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra has to have very pure heart to purify himself. So in order to connect with that Mahamantra, we have to accept the names of Chaitanya and Nityananda. So therefore, it's a leeway, it's a kind of a portal opening. The key to devotion is the worship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and worship his name. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nityananda Prabhu said, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gauranga. Whatever you do, you may not be qualified, but if you chant name of Gauranga, if you worship Gauranga, if you surrender to Gauranga, you'll be safe. So in this understanding, we're celebrating Sri Gaura Purnima because Gauranga Mahaprabhu is like moon and sun, him and his brother Nityananda, and they're coming in Kali Yuga to save fallen souls such as ourselves. How they do that? By sending their representatives, Guru and Vaishnavas, to save us. And save us from whom? Actually, our biblical enemies is ourselves. That's what Krishna is saying in the Gita. So actually, to save us from ourselves. So God saved me from animals. God saved me from friends. God saved me from myself. Self-destruction, one of the biggest enemy on the spiritual path. Therefore, we say, we're quoting Bhagavad Gita, you can be best friend of yourself, you can be the worst enemy of yourself. So surrender to Krishna, Guru, and Vaishnava and follow a divine path is to be best friend for yourself. Going to ego and self-love and self-adjustment without knowing what the true self is your biggest enemy. So that's why many people say, oh, you have to learn how to love yourself, but you don't really know what self is. So based on that, if anybody have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to hear. I'm happy that Prita Prabhu is here, Narayani Didi is here, Rasananda Prabhu is here, and our friends. So let's engage in conversation. Any questions, comments, English, Chinese, Russian, Brazilian, welcome. Okay, now I see smiling faces. That's good. That means we're alive. Gaura Nataraja Prabhu, please.
Sorry for intrusion. Is Avadhut Maharaj. Today you talk about moon and sun, and I study Jyotish, and I try to talk for the people about spirituality in your chat and about astrology and understand about the consciousness and the cycle of life and the reincarnation and karma and all these things. And you recommend anything about this, about preach using Jyotish?
Yes, that's a good thing. So the Jyotish are very, very important knowledge. It's actually one part of divine cosmology, astronomy, geometry, etc. And in ancient time, Jyotish been used as a daily tool for understanding the process in the world. What is auspicious time to plant the seeds? What is auspicious time for marriage? What is auspicious time? Because everything's connected with the universe. So, you know, and Jyotish is a great science that help us to understand how to live in harmony with the universe. And, you know, it's part of the, Vedic perception of reality. So we cannot deny Jyotish, but there's also important part that the Vedic perception is that there's Supreme Lord and the soul. So as much as you qualified understanding the Jyotish, how can you change your horoscope? So there are many upayas, there are many ways that you can change your destiny. And we know that is not the question. Is like, I know I'm going to die tomorrow. So the next question is like, how not to die tomorrow? In fact, what the Vedas tells us that this secret divine knowledge is supposed to lead us to get out of material world. Therefore, if you really follow all the great Jyotish acharyas and preceptors, they were devotees, they were sages, they were rishis and munis. They were not just guys who were like doing this as something mundane. In fact, they were using the Jyotish for spiritual upliftment. For instance, in Hari Bhakti Vilasa, there are mentioned some auspicious time for initiations. Or the Jyotish were calculated, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance, need to be calculated by Jyotish. So Nilambar Chakravarti and Jagannath Mishra, the father and grandfather of Mahaprabhu, were great scholars of Vedas, including Jyotish. So that means actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was the great Jyotish expert writing Surya Siddhanta commentary. However, what made him to understand Jyotish is to understand how to bring everybody to Krishna consciousness. So you can use your skills to give people advice, but remember that Jyotish is like painkiller. It's like, you know, it's like medicine, like painkiller. But Mahamantra is like heart operation. So everybody coming to you with the pain of the heart, and you need heart operation. So you can give them the painkillers because they're coming with problems. But we know the biggest problem is no love of God, no connection with Krishna. That resolves everything. So just so you can understand, there are two principles, relative and absolute. So in absolute, you preach Krishna consciousness. And in relevant, you're helping people to understand their karma, their life, their occasion. And that's why Vaishnavas call Kaviraj. Like the Murari Gupta, the author of Chaitanya Charita, he's titled Kaviraj, and it says in scriptures, he could treat physical and spiritual diseases both. If you go to normal doctor, he will not give you that spiritual treatment. He can treat you physically. So as Murari Gupta, he both can treat spiritual and material disease. You should also, as a Jyotish expert, you should be helping people with temporary matter. Okay, what is the good time to marry? What is the good time to do this? But many people asking, they're coming to you when they have trouble. So why I have this trouble? Why? Yes, because of your karma. But don't think you change your karma and you'll get out of trouble. You make new trouble because you're going to create new karma. But if you accept service to Supreme Lord, then gradually your karma will go away and you'll experiencing the joy and love that you're looking for. Because everybody looking for joy and love. Even somebody going to live as a monk in the forest, he thinking, I'm doing this for happiness. If somebody stealing or killing, he also thinking, I'm going to do this for happiness. So the happiness is the motivation behind everybody, the crime or the good things. But somebody who expert in scriptures, specifically Bhagavad Gita, he can explain people what is the difference between action and ignorance, action and mood of passion, and spiritual action. So what you as an expert should try to give your clients is Bhagavad Gita and give them friendly advice. Because if you just start preaching them, they're not going to listen to you because they're coming to resolve the problem today. They need to resolve the problem today. But if you tell them like, by the way, if you really want to resolve this problem 100%, you read Bhagavad Gita and you think where you are. Then it become a great, because people trust Jyotish, that's like guru. Basically, the Jyotish is like a guru. But the great spiritual Jyotish must be like a spiritual guru, not just dealing with material. Of course, we understand that people coming to astrologers and Jyotish experts and other experts, sometimes with very common mundane purpose. They don't expect spiritual transformation. But thank you for devotees like you who have both knowledge of Jyotish and Krishna consciousness, and people like you must be astrologers. Otherwise, other people, they should not practice the Jyotish because they are not devotees, they're not spiritual people. It is for spiritual people. It's one of the Brahminical science, just like medicine. It's for those who have spiritual understanding. Because reincarnation is not enough. You need to understand previous lives, who is the Supreme Lord and how the karma works, how the universe works. It's all required highest knowledge, like Srimad Bhagavatam and other things. Then we can provide this complete knowledge to people and complete relief. So we do have in our line many of the great devotees who know astrology, like in Dubala Diti, other people, and all of them aspire for devotional life. My Dandavat Pranam to you. Any other questions, comments? Ananta Shesha Prabhu, ¿cómo está? Buenos días. Any other questions? I see Premasindu Prabhu is here from South Africa. I'm seeing other great devotees here. Thank you for supporting this, chat. Humbly, we're trying to remember about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and thinking about his holy Dham, Avadhut Dham. And again, just to tell you, based on what you've said, it says by going to parikrama, the pilgrimage, your billion years of karma will be destroyed by just visiting holy place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and chanting his holy names. So what would be the way to resolve your problems is to resolve all of your problems, not just one, because once the one problem resolved, another one will come. So I'm waiting for you guys to ask questions. So please raise your hand and anybody can ask questions. Don't hesitate. Don't worry. It doesn't have to be anything super deep. It could be something that in your heart, not in your mind. Don't try to make up question. Go to your heart and see what's your heart inquiring. Yes, Ananta Shesha Prabhu, please speak.
Avadhut Maharaj, Avadhut devotees, I have such question. In one of your lectures, you was saying about the gift of Mahaprabhu, that he bestow the Krishna-prem. But how can we receive this Krishna-prem? Because even to his close association, to his friends, he's not giving it for granted. He's not giving it easily.
Okay, that's a very good question. So, yes, it is true. Mahaprabhu is coming to give Krishna-prem, divine love, but it does not mean that this Krishna-prem is cheap. So I tell you one story, very short story. I've said this several times. So there was one trader wants to make money. And one big lord coming to his shop and said, oh, I need a sword. I need a beautiful sword. And this trader, because he needs so much money and he's like a big cheater, he's like, okay, mister, I will make you anything you want. I have so many specialists in this town. I'll give you the best sword. So, but the buyer said, I will only buy when I see it. Said, of course, yes. Don't worry. So he's running to the blacksmith person and he said, you please make me beautiful sword. And I have a big customer that pay big money. And of course, the blacksmith guy also need money. He say, I can make a sword, no problem, but I need the material. You give me the material because you don't have money to pay me. You don't have money to pay material. How do we do? So then this guy said, okay, I'll get you the material. He ran to his house and he see anything made out of metal. And he brought to the blacksmith. And the blacksmith looked at this metal and said, that is not the metal for the sword. This is very low quality metal. But this guy said, you don't worry about it. You just make it from what I give you. And we're going to make money. Don't worry about quality or anything. We just make it nice. So the blacksmith made a very nice looking sword and give it to the trader. So the trader ran to the Lord and said, hey, I got your sword. Look how beautiful it is. And the trader was not, the Lord was not stupid. He said, yes, you're looking very nice. I think I can buy it. And price is very high, but I need to test before I buy it. So he called one of his men and that man tested the sword. He said, this sword is crap, it's broken, it's not good. Then the end of the story, this man rushed back with a broken sword to the smith master and said, why you make such a crappy sword? I got almost killed by this lord. I couldn't even sell anything. He just made me fun, and I was not successful. So the blacksmith master said, I made the best from what you give. If you would give me good metal, I would make it very good sword. I made very beautiful, but the material was crap. So the gist of this story of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, what are we giving to Lord? Are we giving some kind of a crappy attention, something very unsubstantial, or we're trying to purify ourselves and give ourselves as real? So now, how to get something real? You have to pay something real. You have to make something real. So something real has to be in exchange. That's why it's called Atma Samarpan, to surrender to Krishna. If really you look at the Bhagavad, there's one part of Bhagavad called Ashraya, surrender. The Prahlad Maharaj, he was in difficult situations, he surrendered to Krishna. The Gajendra elephant, he surrendered to Krishna. So many characters out of so many conditions, including Maharaj Parikshit, who was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and the last 7 days of his life, he's also surrendered to Krishna. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote a book called Prapana Jivanamritam. And the core of this book is surrender. If there's no surrender, there's no Krishna-prem. There's nothing actually. It's just like lover and beloved. There's no connection. It has to be mutual connection with two sides. So how do we surrender? That is another question which is important. And the way we are surrendering is we follow footsteps of Vaishnavas. That's why it's so important for us to listen about stories of holy people, like in the Bhagavad, like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, because by listening to stories of holy men, we get inspiration to become like them. And we have inspiration to believe that God will save us. And we have an inspiration to surrender and sacrifice. And listening the story of the holy Vaishnavas and holy devotees will make us actually to understand our life is not as difficult as we think. The great sages and great saints had much more worse life than us. They have much more extreme conditions of their life. So, and they were much more serious. So we have to get serious about surrender to Lord Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And how do we do this? Through association, through supporting each other, through hearing the stories of the saints, to hearing about Mahaprabhu from the lips of Guru and Vaishnava, our faith will grow. It says in Bhagavad, one who's hearing with faith, Krishna Katha, will be very quick released by Krishna. But you have to have faith. That's why we're getting into all these groups and we're inspiring each other. Don't think I'm trying to preach to you. Actually, I'm trying to be inspired by you. And I want to thank every one of you to join me. Otherwise, you would listen to somebody else. Who am I to tell you about surrender? I myself fallen soul. I have no qualities, no qualification. But when I look at you, I'm thinking, no, I'm not alone. They're also devotees. They're accepting me. I'm accepting them. They're supporting me. I'm supporting them. That is called Krishna consciousness. So I'm not just conscious of Krishna. I'm also conscious of devotees. I'm also conscious of myself. I'm also trying to, be supportive to others. And I feel support from you. So thank you so much for your kind support, spiritual support and presence. And this is very important. It's not like I'm speaking and you getting. So I was in one program in some Namahat, very nice Los Angeles program. And somebody asked question, what is like spiritual knowledge? And I said, well, see, everything material, the money, possession, next life, you're not going to claim it. You're not going to have it. Even you billionaire, next life, you may be born as a poor, wretched, wild man in a desert. You could be the king of the world, and due to your karma, you might be suffering next life. But if you acquire spiritual knowledge, you're not going to lose that. You're going to have that in the next life. Now, if you share spiritual knowledge, you're not going to lose it. If you give all your money to people, yeah, maybe you not have the money. But spiritual knowledge, if you share it to people, you will have double spiritual knowledge, because by sharing it, your spiritual capital will grow. And your spiritual knowledge will lead you towards spiritual actions. One of them, acquire love of God, which is not under knowledge folder. Love of God is higher than knowledge, but knowledge will help you to get there. Any other questions?
Scarlett Bloom have a question, please,
Yes.
on
Yes.
your.
Yes, please. I'm sorry that I can't have camera on because due to a condition, I have lost all my hair and I don't have a head cover because I have headache. And out of respect to all the Vaishnavas here, I don't want to show myself.
Don't worry, I also losing my hair gradually, so.
No, but mine is much worse. I promise you.
No problem, no problem. Actually, there's a way.
As a respect. I'm doing it as a respect. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Sure, of course, no problem.
Not that I'm ashamed of it. It's something happened. I can't do anything about it. But I just don't want to be disrespectful. My question is, we talk about astrology and the chart and so on. I have somewhat. I have studied astrology before I came to Krishna Consciousness, but now I wonder, because there are some in when you look at the birth chart, there are some things that it's written for you when you born, right? But then could my my practice in Krishna consciousness, not that I'm doing it that's why, but only as a result of my practice, could that change?
That's a very good question. Very good question. I highly appreciate. Because, see, I'm not an expert in Jyotish Shastra, but what we understand is there are a lot of the destiny elements within us from previous life. That's why it says, Bhagavan Jiv, Guru Krishna Prashade Bhai, Bhakti-Lata. So that means fortunate soul traveling through the length of the universes. By his fortune, we meet Guru and Krishna. So at some point you can say, well, you have to have a destiny to become devotee. It's not that easy, because we do have eternal, we do have eternal life, and in this eternal life, we have so many deeds which calculate in our karma, including spiritual deeds. That means, Srila Gurudev said, let's say you're a bird, by fortune you're flying over a holy place. And by fortune, you're circling around temple and you're sitting on a chakra as a bird. That actually counts to you as a spiritual things. So there may be many lives you still become an animal, but then considering that you will pass by holy place when you was in animal form, you had no idea what you're doing, you'll get some sukriti, becoming human, and maybe that will awaken your life. Or another story that there was, eagle taking the serpent and carry serpent and touching by the serpent Ganga's water, and that serpent become liberated. So there are so many stories in scriptures which trace your back lives, so many back lives before you become a devotee. Maybe you were on the highest planet and you've done something wrong and you fell out of curse of the sage, and then this Krishna saves you. So everything is action reaction, but we should understand the spiritual karma, it's eternal. Material karma you can wipe out. Material karma you can destroy, you can erase. Like your tickets, you pay the tickets, you're gone. But your spiritual fortune called Sukriti, Bhakti Sukriti, it will gradually lead you to association of devotees. And when you start associating with devotees, your spiritual progress will skyrocket. Because there's like evolution where everything happens very gradually, but there's like a skyrocket revolutionary progress, especially in Kali Yuga time. That means like, hey, you could be a common person and have no idea about who God is, and finally gotten Chaitanya Mahaprabhu movement, and after some short time hearing about Radha Krishna divine pastimes, which is like not even so confidential, even gods are amazed by that. Think of this, what we're sharing right now is God's amazed by that. And why the gods? You think gods don't understand about astrology, astronomy? They're actually running this universe. Like, we're running the computer, they're running the universe. They know when Yamaraj came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pastimes, he was very much disturbed, but he heard from somebody that in this Bhumi Loka, the human's plane, and he's in charge of Dharma, means he's in charge of justice. He's the head of Department of Justice of the universe. There's Lord coming and breaking the justice. And he came to see how it happens. So he happened to become witness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Dham coming and liberating with Nityananda Prabhu Jagai Madai to the most criminals. When Yamaraj was so overwhelmed how in 1 minute these wretched criminals become devotees, he came to hell and he asked his secretary Chitragupta, like, give me their records. I want to see who these guys are. And Chitragupta said, actually, we'll stop doing the records because they already have so much sins and crime. There's no point of like, when you killed, 100 people, it doesn't really matter if you killed 300 because you're already, a hardcore criminal. So Chitragupta said, yes, I do have some records, but I can't keep those records describing because it's useless. Then Yamaraj, he started chanting of holy name and crying in tears. And he said, now you can throw these records in the Ganga. He said, why? Because these people now are saints. They're the pure saints. They're the pure Vaishnavas. So I happened to be in Katva and I saw Madai Samadhi. So the greatest sinner, the greatest criminal, whose karma was so bad and so horrible, are resigning in holy Dham of Katva, where Mahaprabhu takes sannyas in a peaceful way. And just coming to his place of his burial ground, you get purified. Just by hearing this, millions of sins come out of your karma. How wonderful it is, how amazing it is, and how much we should not try to common sense. Yes, we need common sense, just such as astrology, Jyotish, etc. But when we're coming to pure Krishna consciousness, when we understand the Lord is so merciful, so kind, so beautiful, and even Yamaraj, who's the head of Department of Justice, just openly declare these are no longer criminals in our jurisdictions. They're now become saintly Vaishnavas. This should be a great motivation for us. So as Guru Maharaj said, justice and mercy. So are we trying to knock at the door of Department of Justice, or are we coming to the plane of mercy? But anyway, thank you so much for your questions. So I hope you'll be well. And of course, it's very important for women to look nice. So we're not judging you because we're here at the home state. But the fact is you are present today and hearing all these wonderful stories and nourishing your heart. This is the most important thing. So thank you so much by drawing such emotion for me. Because if you wouldn't ask this question, maybe I wouldn't speak about this stuff. So the listener and speaker in Krishna consciousness, they both mutually benefited by hearing and describing all these wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, especially at this auspicious time of Gaura Purnima. Any more questions, comments? Maria? Holy Maria. She's smiling. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask. It's an English speaking because I speak in Russian every day. Most like after this class, I will give another class in Russian. But I like to speak in English. I'm learning English by speaking English. And my English is not so good, but I'm trying my best for the satisfaction of all the devotees.
And Maharaj, we had question from Bhakti-Lata.
She asks, instructions found in spiritual practice are contradictory, such as thesis and antithesis. What can lead to synthesis?
Okay, that's a very good question. Actually, a very deep question. I asked one time Srila Govinda Maharaj this question. And the question is about contradictory of scriptures, because if we go to law, sometimes law contradict the state law, contradict federal law, the federal law contradict city law, the city law contradict regional law. So how you harmonize all of it? Okay, if we're talking about law, that means one lower law has to build based on higher law. Let's say the federal law is supreme, but how is it interpreted in particular states to particular circumstance? So there has always been a question in scriptures. In fact, there are so many types of scriptures, Vedas, Agamas, Puranas, Aranyakas, and these scriptures dealing with different types of conditions. Some scriptures dealing with a particular mundane circumstance. Some scriptures are dealing strictly with the spiritual things. So if someone can be confused, there's no doubt to be confused. So therefore it says, please do not read too many lawyers' books, because if you are not a lawyer, you'll get in trouble. So once I asked Govinda Maharaj, why is that says that the one who, the soul full of Krishna-prem, and another statement in scripture says that Krishna-prem is being given by Guru. Does that sound like, okay, I already have Krishna-prem, but one scripture said, no, you have to get from Guru. Well, Govinda Maharaj said, that's a very good question, because by nature, soul is part of Krishna, by nature. But considering we lost this property, let's say you lost an ID, you lost your US passport, then you have to go to the agent to restore your passport. So at this point, there's no contradiction. It's just misunderstanding. Because yes, you are a citizen by the birthright, but you're not stated in you don't have the document, you don't have the visa to come back your home. So you have to file, you have to find a local embassy of your country, which means a temple, community. You have to find the agent, the guru, and you have to restore your identity. Your identity will restore. So sometimes they will tell you, if you don't have the identity, you need some witnesses who tell you that this is you are. So devotees, they're like witnesses. They're witnessing you. Therefore, you cannot restore your identity without recognition of devotees. In fact, this is number one rule. So you have to be accepted by devotees. You have to be accepted by the family of devotees. Then you should be properly initiated. Then you have to prove you're not a criminal. You're not with a criminal selfish interest trying to enter a spiritual world in order to exploit spiritual reality for your own egocentric purpose, because that is material world. That is the prison. So Maya will test you, and Maya, that's Maya's job, to make sure you're the right person for the right time, and you're the right rape fruit, you're mature. So unless you are immature, and that means just like in school, you're going to the exam. So Maya will test you, and you will realize you fell. Then you go learn again, and you test again, and fail again, learn again, and test again, and fail again. And as more you fail, as more you learn, you'll realize this is not within your personal ability. That's in the Department of Justice, and not Department of Justice. It's Department of Mercy. How to enter from Department of Mercy to Department of Justice is to surrender. You have to surrender. And how do you surrender? You have to get the grace of Vaishnava. Give up your ego, accept grace of Vaishnava, a Guru Vaishnava, and surrender. And that is the secret behind this whole transformation. Without surrender, remember what the man said, if you're not quality heart, nothing will happen good. First, purify your heart. How you purify your heart? Associate with devotees, worship devotees, get mercy of devotees, serve devotees, hear about devotees, surrender to devotees, then Krishna will be happy with you, then he will accept you. So contradictory statements will always be, and our duty is always to find harmony. And harmony is not easy to find because it says in scriptures, specifically in Mahabharata, Tatvam Vidhitam Guhayaya. So the Hridayat Mahajana, the truth within the heart of great Mahajan, the truth within the heart of devotee. Truth not in the book, because you will not properly understand. Truth not in debate, because you can't accept the reason you debate because of your ego, most like. The truth is not into your own insignificant practice, however great it is appear to you, that is not the truth. The truth in the heart of a pure Vaishnava who surrendered himself and sacrificed his own life to service of Guru and Gauranga. And just because we somehow met great Vaishnavas such as Gurudev and other devotees such as Prabhupada and others, we actually even qualified to, or semi-qualified to discuss those topics. These topics not appear in public. You never hear this on TV. You never hear this in science libraries and science conferences. But when you come to the assembly of devotees, this would be the most primarily important topics which devotees would discuss. So again, thank you, every one of you, to raising this important necessity of discussion, of this discussion. Otherwise, I would just do something else. Most like I would not practice Krishna consciousness. I would have good time, maybe drink some tea. But now and here, I'm trying to serve all of you by telling you the truth from lotus lips of Guru and Vaishnava. And it gives me great satisfaction. And I hope you are satisfied. So any other questions, comments? If anybody can ask questions in English, it's good, because this is English speaking class for native English speakers. That just will give me a lot of inspiration. Scarlett, do you have any more questions? Because your hands is raised. Oh, now look at you. You are so amazing. And you've been hiding from us? Come on, come on. You have total spiritual look. Please plug in your microphone. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I tried to say yes, but you didn't hear me, so that's why I had to put the camera in. You mentioned about the association is very important in our spiritual progress, but I'm so sorry, but this is the truth. There are some devotees that I don't know if I can say abuse their position, or they behave not so nice, not so kind, and that makes, for me, that I'm new in this, I have difficulty. I can't see someone behave so badly and just think it's okay, it's okay. Especially when it's has done unjust, not fair. You understand what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes.
Without really having reason to do it.
Yes.
Be disrespectful without any reason. Just power thirsty. I'm so sorry to say that, just power thirsty. So
yes,
how can such association be any good? It makes me to just run away. I don't want to be there.
Very good question, but consider this. You coming to med institution when everybody's crazy. And you coming to that med institution where everybody crazy with one hope. Maybe out of so these crazy people, I'll get something that will be my medicine. So an ideal case, you coming to the place where everybody healthy and, you know, a nice hospital, nice beds, nice doctors. But most like this world is like mental institution where everyone is crazy up to certain limit. So if somebody's not crazy in this world externally, they crazy internally. You know, like most people are completely crazy, but they've learned how to like look normal. But you know, once you talk deep with them, you understand this guy's also crazy, just like me, maybe worse than me. So now, like considering you crazy, I'm crazy, everybody here crazy, what's the benefit of us? Well, here's the benefit. Number one, we understand our imperfections and we not trying to oppose these principles to anybody else. No one is perfect. Everyone is suffering in this world. Everyone. If you look some kind of a big guru, why he's fighting for the power? Because he's looking for recognition. He doesn't have enough recognition internal. So he's looking at external recognition. That means he's not a big guru, but he's trying. That is the normal situation because this person got into kind of like religious life by his karma. Like I can tell you about myself. I don't think I'm a very deep spiritual person. In fact, I kind of like, you know, I like art. I like demons sometimes more better than devotees because demons are more, you know, more qualified. They're very organized. They follow everything. They have rules. They have regulations. You know, they like even in the world of demons, they have very strict rules. Sometimes devotees are not like that because devotees not taking things seriously. Sometimes devotees very sentimental, superficial, and not even taking things on deep consideration. So sometimes when I look at devotees and demons, I think, I'm most like I'm demon. I like to be like demon. But what is the problem with demons? Demons do it for themselves and devotees doing for Krishna. Then I think, no, I cannot be like egocentric. Maybe demons are better organized, they're better qualities, but they're doing for their ego self strictly. And devotees, they have mixed feelings, mixed things. But in core of devotees' goal is Krishna. Then I better stay with devotees than with demons, because if I stay with demons, I become a demon, because you know they hate Krishna. They're very you know, self-centered. So even if devotees are not perfect, I rather stay with non-perfect group of devotees. Now, then you say, well, then the problem is how do I surrender? Yes. When you're around devotees, and Guru Maharaj used to say practitioners, we're not actually devotees. We're trying to become devotees. We're trying to get some devotion. But there are some great souls like Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, like our gurus. They are real devotees. They're not like phony like us. Like, you know, Prabhupada, he's giving all his life, 100%. It's been proven. Then thinking about, okay, Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada put me in this situation. Yes, maybe these people not so good, but they're better than demons. Maybe they're not so qualified, but they're speaking about Krishna. They're sharing things. That is the great medicine for my soul. Then I have to tolerate this. Yes, maybe they treat me wrong because they're not qualified spiritually and they have not enough compassion. But I will try not to judge them from this position, because the highest feeling you have is forgiveness. Remember, why everybody loved Jesus or Mahaprabhu? Because he came with a message of forgiveness. He didn't start judging people. You know, so when we're judging people, we're kind of injustice, but we need the mercy ourselves. So from the point of mercy, we must forgive, we must not accept their offenses. And at the same time, we should say, yes, this person not so good. This Avadhut Maharaj sound a little crazy, but you know, he speak about Krishna. Maybe when I will stay with Avadhut Maharaj and more inspire him, he will be better devotee and he will inspire me. And so let's guys try to inspire each other, then try to find faults with each other, because everybody has some faults naturally. And like you know, like just you on camera, untied your camera because we love you the way you are. We're not, you know, we're not expecting see hairstyle, you know. I mean, in some kind of other condition, people say, well, I need to dress properly, I need to put proper, you know, but that's not what it's a soul association, heart to heart association. And I can guarantee you, if you would meet Govinda Maharaj, he would love you without even knowing you so much. Then how somebody can love you without knowing you? Because he loves your soul. He loves what internally you are. What is externally you are, it has nothing to do with your true self. It's just temporarily. So if we will take this, I would say it's a saintly philosophy. It's a very saintly philosophy, you know, forgiven, self-sacrifice, acceptance, even like mother, you know, sometimes children, they're pissing on mother or they're cursing mother or they swear on mother, but mother is not, you know, behaving like a naughty children. Mother has love, compassion, and tolerance, and that's what Govinda Maharaj teaches us to do. So I highly appreciate what you say. It makes a lot of sense, actually. Otherwise, if we just start deal with devotees on some kind of expectation of our justice, then there's no mercy. So we should be merciful to devotees. Devotees should be merciful to us. Yes, maybe devotee will tell you something, then you say, okay, this is test for my ego. This is Maya testing my ego. Okay, now this is not me, my ego. My soul is always with devotees. My ego sometimes cannot resist this. My ego, like, you know, like, I will tell you one story, like recently I got very big punishment from Krishna. Krishna really kicked my ass. And I understand why, maybe it's continual. Like if I tell you, I mean, it's unbelievably how Krishna punished me because I've done something very, very wrong in a holy place, in a place, you know, I had some, you know, I shouldn't be doing this wrong. Maybe later I will tell you, but basically I've done something wrong. And I admit, because I exposed my ego. You know, there was like a South Indian temple. I was with a group. They would not allow us. And I was there before COVID. And I said, come on, guys, what are you playing these games? And, you know, I behaved very improperly. So I did not pass my ego test because my ego that I'm a sannyasi, I'm some kind of a sadhu, and you're not letting me in the temple. Actually, I've been in this temple. You know, it was just my ego. And due to my ego, I got immediate punishment from Krishna. But becoming a little humble, like a dog, you know, a dog is very, I tell you one story called a half rupee story. So one little frog living in a pond found half rupee. It used to be coin called like, no, not 1 rupee. 1 rupee, like 1 rupee is nothing, but it used to be coin like half rupee, let's say 1 cent. So he found that coin and little frog considered himself like a billionaire. And he called all the other frogs and he said, I'm a billionaire, I'm in charge, I'm your king, I'm your leaders. And the frogs, because they like, hey, the guy has half rupee, we never seen that much money. They said, okay, we're accepting you. And he was so proud and so overwhelmed by his ego that he made an open declaration. He said, from now day, as a king of this pond, I will not allow anybody without my permission to take water or bath here. And somebody said, well, what about elephants? They come here one time to time. He said, if any freaking elephants coming near to my pond, I'm going to kick them out myself. Okay, so it was a very great statement and everybody took it very seriously. So one day, somebody running and screaming, elephants, elephants coming. So this little half rupee frog took his half rupee in his mouth and said, okay, now you'll see, I'm gonna go kick their ass. They never come back here. So as he started coming towards elephant, by mistake, elephants step on him because they didn't see him. So the picture is this, a half dry body of a frog with half rupee, you know, smashed to the ground on the sun, getting dry. And if elephant peacefully taking baths and water, they don't even realize that this have, you know, they step on this frog. And everybody become alive because they, you know, they were a little bit afraid of elephants and they back off. So they kept alive. The king with the half rupee was dead. Why? Because the ego can bring us to deadly situation, and the half rupee can make us believe we're the king of this world. So just imagine I felt like that, you know, half rupee frog, and Krishna punished me Did he punish me to make me suffer? No, he didn't punish me to make me suffer. I might have to suffer more for this reaction, but he punished me for make me understand. Humility, tolerance, especially when you're Swami, especially when you're a spiritual person, you have nothing to show. You have no one to show your ego. In fact, showing your ego is acting like a half-rupee frog is going towards self-destruction. So if we will accept this story, then before we do something or make a judgment of people, we'll think. So therefore, great Vaishnavas known, the saints, not their quality is not to judge anyone. Yeah, somebody does something good, yes, you inspire. Somebody does, that's his problem, it's not your problem. You're not part of it. So you meet with people and you see what good they do. Let's say they chant, okay, you chant. If somebody after chant say, hey, I really want to smoke some weed, you say, well, I'm sorry, guys, that's not my program. I didn't came here to smoke weed, I came here to chant. Somebody say, well, because of devotees, they chant together and they smoke weed together. Yeah, maybe some devotees do, but you say, well, that's not exactly my purpose of coming to association with devotees, because I can smoke weed with anybody, including myself, but I can't with anybody chant. So thank you guys. It's my time to go, and you do whatever you want, because maybe you're on the stage of looking for some sense gratification, like 90.9 living beings, but I'm not here with you to share, something which I don't believe is beneficial for my spiritual life. So thank you so much again. Thank you for revealing yourself. You look wonderful, very spiritual. And actually, it just highlights your beautiful eyes and form, and so it doesn't, sometimes hair, like I don't have a hair, but so yeah, wonderful. So as you see, as I start getting old, I just accept the way it is. I'm old, sick, I'm many ways I'm invalid, so I just start doing exercise, doing little yoga, pranayama, treating myself alternative way, because unescapable, your physical beauty will vanish and your spiritual beauties will take. So if you are just for physical beauty, you don't have a spiritual beauty, you will not replace that. But as you get maturity and spirituality, your spiritual beauty will come up. And that's very important for women, because women, they can be beautiful when they're very young and sexually attractive, but if they did not develop spiritual wisdom and spiritual consciousness, they just look like, not very attractive elder people. But if women develop spiritual beauty, inner beauty, then she, no matter what age or position she is, she's charming, she's sweet, she's accepted by her energy, and that's where we coming into association of devotees. Anyway, guys, so there's 11:05, so let's take one more question, because I have to switch to Russian speaking program. People waiting for me. And Parma Bhakti from Brazil, any questions? You can plug in your, you can plug in your microphone. Parma Bhakti Didi, your microphone on top, you make it green, because your microphone unmute. Yes, now it's good. Go ahead.
Avadhut Maharaj, Dandavat Devotees. I'm sorry about my English, Maharaj. Next class, I promise you, I will write a question and put in the chat. I promise you. Thank you so much for this class. Thank you so much for this association.
Your English is much better than my Brazilian, so no problem. But sometimes you can say, hey, I'm vegetarian, how to feed my cat. It doesn't have to be a deep philosophical discussion, because we're here trying to support each other. In fact, now Gaura Purnima time is a very holy place. And some of our devotees, they're alone. There might be in one town or city, they're maybe not able to travel to the program or travel to India. So my service to the Guru and Vaishnava community to inspire them and to make them feel they're appreciated and they've heard. Therefore, I'm so happy that you are, unmuting your microphone, coming up, and it doesn't have to be something like, oh, you need mind-blowing question. No, it has to be just like, hey guys, I love you, happy to see you, happy Gaura Purnima, or like, Gaura Nataraja Prabhu, or Gaura Nataraja Prabhu, he might be an astrologer, maybe knows so many things, but he's a humbly taken spiritual association. Otherwise he can speak about the Rahu and Ketu and Saturn and this and that. And that would be a very profound knowledge. But when we share things about Krishna consciousness, remember, Govinda Maharaj would call this religion of the heart. It's not the intellectual knowledge that we're sharing here. It's what we're trying to share is the feeling of devotion, the mood of devotion, the mood of sacrifice. That's where the base core of love. Because without that mood of sacrifice and this appreciation, our life will be filled with sacrifice. And without sacrifice, there's no love. So love is a core of change of sacrifice. So Hegel, he was a German philosopher. He was once asked, what is the process of love? What is love? And he said, love is to fully give yourself, which means absolute self, to the interest and beloved, and through this sacrifice to re-achieve yourself again, which means by offering ourselves to the sacrifice of love, our true self is coming up. In scriptures, it's described as a rock material which contained gold offered to the fire and some drops of gold coming out of it. So until we mix with body, mind, and senses, we are the golden rock material. Once the sacrifice of Sankirtan, self-surrender happens, that our soul, our true self, through the fire of sacrifice, become a piece of gold. That's what we are. We're none of that. We're not senses. We're not mind. We're not karma. We're not this. We're not that. We are that golden particle of divine love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we are meant for this beautiful transformation. Just like if you see butterflies, if you see beginning of butterfly flies, it's just like a leech. It's like an insect. It's like a worm. So how from worm you become butterfly? You have to give up your worm identity. Everything you know about yourself as a worm is a temporarily. There'll be one day when you'll be able to fly. And that one day in Krishna consciousness will happen at the time of your sacrifice. So, and it may not happen fully in this life, but your intent for this will be eternal. So whatever you've done from point of Krishna consciousness, even this conversation today will count in your eternity. Just think of this. You have achieved something today, which will count in your eternity. So if you do daily thinking and remembering about Krishna and hearing Krishna pastimes, especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from the source, from devotees, from the audio books, from literature, from Vaishnava, from Guru, that will grow your inner spiritual self, which will transform you into beautiful spiritual being. You can't even expect how beautiful you are. Sometimes beautiful women can look at the mirror and say, am I so beautiful? Am I so charming? Yes, at a certain time you are. Certain charm, certain cosmetics, certain dress, you can be very seductive, very attractive. But as a soul, you are more attractive, you are more beautiful, and you have to rediscover your inner self through connection with fire of Krishna Kirtan, Sankirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So again, it's Gaura Purnima, very important to read the book, Avadhut Maharaj. Swami Maharaj and Madhusudan Maharaj will have daily parikrama on Zoom. So please participate in this English-speaking parikrama. I will participate in both, in English-speaking and Russian-speaking. I ask Rasananda Prabhu to publish out audio books of Avadhut because many people like to listen to audio books for their driving or their traveling. I could not find in English, but thanks God in Russian, there's more now stuff than in English in audio format, but you can download that PDF of Avadhut Mahatmya or watch some videos of Avadhut and that will kept your mind is connected with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu birthplace, which is non different than Golok Vrindavan. The only one difference is this place is aparat free. Offenses are not counted here. So we, by nature, we offensive, as we spoke with Didi about some people are acting offensively. How you can accept that? Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not calculate our offenses. That is the power of Navadvip Dhamma and power of Chaitanya Nityananda, especially Nityananda Prabhu mercy. So at this point, we're already 11:12. I just want to keep this meeting a strictly 1 hour, academic hour, so that you can process everything you've heard through your own heart, through your own mind, that I'm praying you to bless me with your blessing so that I can continue to serve my Guru. And by speaking to you, I feel enthusiasm, I feel nourishment. I hope you're feeling the same. I feel what we're doing is very important because from different parts of the world, we're sharing super important things. And there'll be more and more people like us. Don't think we're just few crazies. There'll be a lot more. The wake-up call for the world already started happening. And as you see, world is going to rapidly change. So I pray that all of you are safe in your communities. I pray that all of you will be protected by Krishna and continue spiritual life. I pray to all of you that you are keep association with your local devotees locally and with global devotees globally. I hope you will participate in Navadvip Dham Parikrama and celebration of Gaura Purnima. And so here's Nama Chintamani from Kyiv raising her hand. So please, she has to say something, please. Nama Chintamani, говорите. Микрофон только отключите.
Dandavat, all devotees, Dandavat Avadhut Maharaj. My obeisance to you. You inspire us a lot, but I would like to ask about one thing. I hesitated, should I speak about that, but one devotee, Kumkum Devidasi, she is now in very hard condition. She is in Germany and she has a cancer and the stage is serious. So if we have such opportunity, let's pray all together. Let's all devotees pray that Krishna will give some mercy to her and will relieve her in her hard situation. I apologize, maybe it's not into topic and not appropriate, but it is painful for me, so thank you very much.
Jai. Спасибо вам большое. So Nama Chintamani from Kyiv, she's a very sweet devotee. She is participating in our mission for a long time, and she's now on pension, staying home during the war. And one of a lady named Kumkum Didi, which is also a senior lady. She's a mother of one of our devoted son named Tirta. She's now in Germany with a cancer and a very deep stage of cancer. So she said, if we can all pray to Lord and Guru and support her, that she will get released from her conditions one way or another way. Sometimes physical release is not possible, but sometimes Krishna arranged that through suffering of cancer, your last karma or your bad karma will be burned. So that next life, you're not bringing that karma with you. So therefore, when devotees have some health conditions, does not mean Krishna is not merciful to them. It's actually, sometimes Krishna just say, hey, let this whole bad karma be burned in this life. And that is consequence of things which we've done in our previous lives. So thank you so much. We pray for Supreme Lord for her well-being. And I said to Rasananda, I can call her. I told Rasananda specifically, if she wants to hear from me, I'd be more than happy to call in a convenient time for her and speak to her. Я готов с ней поговорить в любое время, если вы мне контакт ее пошлете и поддержать ее. Также другие преданные, я уверен. Okay, so on this beautiful occasion, let's end up this spiritual gathering with the positive thoughts and prayers to us and our community, our relatives and our friends. And remember, it says in scriptures, anybody who becomes pure devotee of Krishna will liberate hundreds of generations. So not to speak about forward or in our time, it's also backwards. So if we become pure devotees, we'll liberate our ancestors, the future generations, and people around us. So which take us to direction that we have to practice Krishna consciousness. We have to pray to Krishna. We have to surrender. And of course, we should support each other and all the devotees and non-devotees as well. That is the part of our spiritual behavior, proper well-being, because that is the human's life for, not to judge, not to criticize, not to disturb others, rather to support and accept. It's not easy to do. I can guarantee you it's not easy to do. It's easy to speak about. In practice, it's not so easy. But again, I want to thank all of you for being with us. And let's meet again and again. Let's celebrate Gaura Purnima festival. And let's continue the spiritual association. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Gaura Bhakti-Lata Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Guru Maharaj Ki Jai, Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Gaura Purnima time Ki Jai, all the devotees Ki Jai, all the organizers of this meeting Ki Jai, all the participants Ki Jai. My Dandavat Pranam to every one of you. I love you guys. I will jump on the Russian program. Yeah, I don't know, maybe in the future, because I speak every day. I speak sometimes a couple of times a day. So, you know, I don't know if Rasananda will arrange translation into English, because, you know, every day I try to keep people 30, 40 minutes going. And I'm trying to keep them long time, because, you know, long lectures, it's when you have a time. So normally I speak 30, 40 minutes to just shake up the people and give them some hope and some inspiration. So Dandavats, I'm very inspired, and I'm going to share this inspiration with our audience. And see you guys next time. Dandavats. I'm signing out again.
Jai Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all devotees who helped to translation and organizing this Zoom, Nadia, Prithu Prabhu, Raja Sundari, Narayani, all devotees who with us. Your attention, your questions is very also inspiring everybody. And please join to online parikrama. You can see this announcement in Facebook or write on email or Telegram. We will be happy to help you find these links or on all these programs. Dandavat, dear devotee, and accept our Dandavats and good wishes. Jai Gurudev, Hare Krishna.